Good evening. Hello. Okay. Tonight is gonna be another art stream where I'm gonna continue to work from yesterday because I did not get anything done at all today. Or, well, not anything at all, but very, very little because it was yet another really hot day. But good news is that now it's started cooling down and there's clouds pulling up. Now, clouds during the night are really bad for temperature, but I'm hoping it's going to actually rain, which should help. Right now the clouds are blocking the sun, which is why the temperature has dropped significantly. But yeah, I really hope it's gonna rain. Anyway, for now the windows are open, so there's gonna be a bit of noise from outside, and my birds are gonna be loud because it's much brighter in my room now than it usually is when I have my blinds down.
Amazing.
So apologies if my boys are a bit excited tonight, and it's probably just gonna be that for 2 hours. I can assure you they're good boys, but they're also very annoying sometimes. Anyhow, I was working on this, and I'm still not quite sure
How wonderful.
what to do with it. Because, yeah, I don't quite like how it looks at the moment, but I'm not sure how much of that is due to the way it's currently composited with everything else. Like the gray areas here look really bad. You know, obviously the stuff around here looks really bad. So there's a lot of, unfinished business that makes it look worse than it might if it were finished. So I'm just gonna continue doing what I've been doing and hope for the best. And if it turns out to be shit by the end of it, I guess I'm gonna have to scrap it and try again. That's just how it be sometimes. Can't have a winner every time. Also, this might be too much information, but I had a barbecue tonight. We've been putting it off since Saturday, because it's been too hot, but we had to today or the meat would have gone bad. And now, whenever I have barbecue, I have a corn cob, roasted corn cob. I love that. But the downside of having corn cobs is that after that, your hands smell like shit. Or not like shit, but like butter. For like ever. And so I constantly have the smell of butter and corn cob in my nose now.
Use paper towels while you eat.
But then the paper towel sticks to the corn cob. Anyway, corn cob logistics are not my strong suit.
Use a corn holder you surf.
A corn holder? What is that? Is that some kind of infomercial thing? Am I on the infomercial channel?
Use tin foil.
Yeah, that might be an idea. I have been washing my hands and everything, but you know. Plus, neither of those things help against the problem of stuff sticking in your mouth for ages, even if you floss your teeth afterwards. I don't know how that works. Like, I flossed my teeth immediately and still stuff got stuck somewhere. Also, I don't like that this theme doesn't save my resizing. It's weird. Okay, back to this. Also, tonight's soundtrack is going to be Ben Pronti, so I hope you're enjoying that. Are we having connection problems, Sandster?
The music is comfortable and it is making me sleepy.
You just got booted from the chat. Oh, okay. Alright. Yeah, you can't, since it's a JavaScript thingy, you can't move it to a new window without, you know, making it a new... For all the things that are in the web, apparently sharing resources between windows is not one of them. Have any of you guys ever played Into the Breach?
Into the what?
Into the Breach.
The
Breach.
Is that a WW2 game?
No. It's a game made by the same dudes as...
Oh, yes, I have. It's good but darn hard.
It's by the same dudes that made FTL. And yes, it is balls hard. Which is the primary reason why I didn't play more than I did. I still have it on Switch, but... Man...
Same for me. I have it on GOG.
That game, I feel like, you know, I appreciate what they're going for and everything, but compared to FTL, there's not enough leeway for you to be garbage. In FTL, there's enough randomness in it that you can just say, ah, it was bad luck, right? But in Into the Breach, it's much less so, which is both a good thing, but also a bad thing if the difficulty is too high. I remember watching a talk the two guys gave about Into the Breach, though, and I think they mentioned something about it being easier than they thought it was gonna be, which is like, whoa, for me. But maybe I'm just stupid, I don't know. Okay. This is not yet a complete tile set. Some slopes are missing, but that's fine.
Maybe there are mechanics it didn't teach well enough.
Nah, I don't think so. It's just getting into the logic of the game feels a bit obtuse to me at times. Or rather, I could never get it quite. into my system. I forgot to turn off my mail client. Sorry about that. Okay.
Those are some nice-looking rocks.
I don't know. It doesn't quite fit into the rest of the terrain, I feel like.
Nice. If this were a cavern, I'd add some crystals.
Yeah, I don't think crystals fit into a tundra. I do want to add icy stuff, but probably not straight up crystals. Also, if I'm gonna add slopes, whoa, like this, I'm gonna need to consider like add that to the engine as well, because right now I can only do slopes like this and like this, so no vertical slopes. I don't think I need like precise collision detection for that, but still needs to be handled a bit better than just something like this, you know.
There are some lovely mines up north. The only active amethyst mine is in Lapland.
Oh, okay. I guess that's your random trivia for today. What do we learn?
Only active in Europe, I mean.
Oh.
Crystals fit just fine up north caverns.
Sure, I mean, you can argue geographically all you want. The difference is just that I don't care. My gut feeling tells me I don't think it'll fit into what I want to have.
What a shame.
I know, right? What will be a natural looking hazard in a tundra, since I don't know that I'm going to add enemies? Just, you know, static things to avoid. Mostly to make the level design a lot easier and more predictable.
I'm not advocating you do this, but out of curiosity, would you get a good effect by doing your art without shading and adding normal maps? Or would that look weird? Goombas.
Normal maps for 2D don't really work.
Huge pits of acid. Awesome 2D equivalent of normal maps.
you know, so
Oh, got
I
it.
don't really like. Okay, I can think about it, but it doesn't really make sense to me how normal maps work at all, because what you have is not a perspective projection at all. You have an orthographic projection, so you always look at a pixel at exactly the same angle, right? So you always look at a pixel dead on, and so the effect created by a normal map would be very diminished. Basically, it would be equivalent to... no, never mind. I mean, you could make it work, I guess. It's just... I'm not sure... I'm not sure how worth it will be. Especially if you're working at very low resolutions. Because essentially with, you know, a normal map always has the same resolution as the texture itself, or I think in pretty much every case it does. So in this case, for instance, for a stone like this, that's 3 pixels. How do you... There's not enough surface area to get a sort of bending effect. I can see it sort of working for larger objects, like these stones here could look nicer with normal mapping. But especially with the way I'm doing lighting now, which is completely directionless, that wouldn't really fit in. What I do want to do is an intensity map, or sort of a specularity map of sorts, where the map decides how much the light is going to actually influence that point. So, for instance, you could say these crevices here have much less intensity, and the surfaces above have much more. Or, for instance, the snow is going to have a very high intensity in order to get sort of a shininess to it. So that I can see working much better. Normal maps, I would have to try it out and see if it looks alright. But again, sort of the effect of the normal map is severely diminished because your camera is static. Or in the very least, I feel that's going to be the case. I don't know. I can't say. It's just a hunch I have. Would need to be tested. Someone else already also suggested normal maps, and it has occurred to me. But yeah, I'm just not convinced that it would be worth
That
the effort.
specularity map sounds cool. I might do some experiments and see how normal maps would work.
Okay, cool. Another thing I might want to do is environment maps, which is more weird than specularity maps or intensity maps. Which is... environment mapping typically is in 3D, if you have a reflecting thing, then you don't want it to just be glowing or reflecting a lot of light. You want it to be reflecting the environment to give it some additional texture and act more like a mirror than just a light emitting surface. And so you bake in a map that is used to do sort of an inverted lookup based on the reflecting angle. And so I think that could also be done in some way for background elements that are facing the camera, that you might have an environment map that displays basically what's invisible behind the camera. So sort of like an inverse parallax background. And that could look nice, but that's another thing that I'm on the on the fence about. I'm not sure if it will work out. Bird mad, bird scream. What do you think a bird is mad about?
The sun.
I don't know. They do not like the sun, which is weird, because they're, they come from fucking Australia, the desert basically, initially anyway. But I guess now that they've grown up here, they just really don't like direct sunlight. Understandable, but yeah. Oh. There's definitely things graphically that I want to experiment with still. I have mentioned a couple of things before, mostly in post-processing effects that I want to do. Another thing that I think could look really nice is a HDR gamma mapping effect, wherein, so if you don't know, HDR stands for high dynamic range.
HDR is cool.
It's a term typically from photography initially anyway, where typically a single image done with a camera has a single exposure level, which is how long you let the lights go into the camera before you turn it off. The longer the exposure, the more light is going to come in. The darker the scene, the more exposure you need in order to actually see anything. The brighter, the less. And so every image is done at a specific exposure level, but that gives you a low amount of color range. And so the idea was that you take multiple photos at different exposure levels in order to get more color values of the same scene. If you can do that, like if the image is static enough for long enough, that way you can get a lot of actual color information out of what you're looking at. And then using different kinds of combination techniques, you can turn all these images into one high dynamic range image. Typically, cameras nowadays all have a modus for that where you can just click it and it'll do it automatically with varyingly great results, because doing real HDR photography requires quite a lot of fiddling around with the settings and tuning parameters and making it look nice. But typically, if you see like really moody color, strong color photos, they're done with HDR. Now for games where we generate the data, HDR basically means that when you do the lighting calculations, typically your color values all range in between 0 and 1. and that means you have a low range of colors. If you try to squash a lot of lights into the same scene, then what ends up happening is that it's just gonna clamp to white in those areas. Naturally, this is not something that'll end up looking very good. So what you do instead is during the lighting, you do everything in linear color space rather than in the typical sRGB color space. And you allow the color values to go beyond 1. So you could have an RGB of 500, 210 for the red, green, and blue values. And then at the very end, once you're done with all your lighting processing and all that stuff, you perform a mapping step in order to turn those values into the standard low range space that your monitor actually understands. And typically this mapping, you can influence how it's done a bit by playing with the with an exposure or gamma value or whatever. So for instance, if a game asks you to set up the gamma, that's what it's about. Like if you need to turn a slider to see the gray value or some shit in some scale, that's to set up the HDR mapping to look good on your monitor. So what I've been thinking about, especially if you do HDR, there's one particularly nice effect that you see in some modern games, especially open world kinds of things, where if you're standing out in the open and you look at an area that's like a cave or a house or the inside of a house or something like that, the inside is going to be extremely dark. But if you go actually inside, after a while it'll do some sort of adjustment where the inside now looks normal and the outside looks extremely bright. So what it basically does is it just gradually adjusts the exposure level, or the simulated exposure level that you see, to sort of emulate your eye adjusting to the different brightness levels. And that's a really, really neat effect. And I've always wanted to try and replicate that kind of effect in a 2D game. So I would like to do that at some point. The problem is sort of detecting where things are in shade and where not. So the maps need to have some kind of information about that. And things like that. HDR is a technique that was initially applied or transferred to games by Valve, I believe, for a Half-Life 2 update or something like that. I don't quite remember the history of it. But nowadays it's a very standard technique for, at least for 3D games. Wait, that's the wrong way around. What am I doing? By the way, if any of my explanations that I do during these streams are not extensive enough, or if you have any questions, please do let me know so that I can try to clarify and fix up any confusion. I'm by far no expert in this field, so there's a lot that I could be explaining in a subpar manner. I would more than enough enjoy the opportunity to talk more than anything else.
When does university start out for you?
I think mid-September is the usual date, so I have 2.5 more months to go. No. No, that does not good. It's all kind of just brownish. I don't know. Maybe I need to tone it down a bit. interesting. Ooh, now that's very retro. Strong contrast like that.
What other effects besides dynamic HDR do you have on your list?
Let me check. So we have right, the specularity reflectance environment map kind of thing, and the intensity map kind of thing. Let's slow down the list of things though. Then just some post-processing like a snow effect or a sandstorm effect and distortion effects so that it looks like, you know, remember in Nier when, you know, you start getting shit on, that kind of stuff.
Anything specific for lighting?
Oh, that's it. Aside from the intensity. I don't know what the fuck to do with these colors, man. Nothing looks right. Nothing! Nothing, man! Alright, we don't see the grid anymore.
What state were clip maps left in again? All done and perfect.
No, there's a minor... The blog entry mentions what the problem is. It's also too slow at the moment, because it doesn't use the final trick mentioned in one of the papers, which is to use wraparound addressing in order to be able to update only single lines of the clip map rather than re-uploading the entire level. So right now it stutters if you try to move too much.
Ah, right, I remember the stutter.
Well, there's two forms of stutter. One stutter is just things being too slow to load in. And the other is there's a between clip map levels, there is a pop-in effect of half a grid line or half a grid size. Like in the blending region, because there's a wrong offset calculation that I haven't been able to figure out. That's a popping effect that happens, or yeah, it's a popping smearing kind of thing. But if you're looking for things to do in trial, that's clip maps is really not a thing that I would try to tackle. It's not documented well, and it's a really involved kind of thing. There's a lot more low-hanging fruit than that. I mean, yeah, it would be sick if we got that perfect, but...
I am definitely leaving it for you.
Okay. Yeah, no idea when I'll return to that. It'll probably be a long while. On the optimization side for Leaf, one thing that I want to do is tile set combinations, because sometimes it makes more sense to divide a tile set up into things according to use. So for instance, I don't know, all houses or all bricks or something like that. And then for a certain region you might want to be able to use tiles from multiple tile sets, in which case it would be very beneficial if the system could stitch together the necessary tile sets itself. But that's also kind of an optimization deal, so I'm not worrying about it right now. Okay. In case you're wondering how I stand with these birds every day of my life, the answer is I don't, and also I wear a lot of headphones. Or I wear headphones a lot, rather. The mystery has been unveiled.
Headphones are good.
Yeah. It's just a shame that it also isn't very comfortable to have headphones on all day. I'm falling into the same pit as a lot of games do right now, or the art style of a lot of games does, which is to say it just looks like brown. It just starts looking brown and muddy and brown, but also brown. Did I mention brown? Because that's what it looks like, just a lot of brown. And I don't know what to do about it. I'm scared to make things too intense. And I think a lot of people have the same fear. So they just rather stick it safe. And keep it muted. Okay, see you, Sanser. Thanks for checking things out, and good luck at work. Have a nice day. Honestly, I just keep looking back at Celeste because that had, to me, really strong visuals that weren't muted at all, but still not offensive to the eye either. So I'm trying to figure out how that works, but so far I don't think I've been successful. Yeah, it just does a lot of weird stuff like pink walls and stuff like that. And it gets away with it, damn it. Really, really bright grass. Just lots of very intense colors. Which is, yeah, I don't know. It's a mystery. How you do? Alright. Give me a while, I'm looking at things. Trying to figure out how they work. Hmm. Probably need to change this as well, but for now, let me paste this in here just to see what it looks like. Yeah, it's way too intense. Jesus. What if we make a nice blue instead? Yeah, the contrast with that already works a lot better. The orange is too... Gets too boring. Um...
It just needs a happy little sun with shades.
I do want to make this region appear cold, but I'm not yet sure how to do that.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Needs more skellage.
More skellige? I don't know what that means. I mean, I understand the word, but I don't know what that means in this context. You know, Google Images is useful and all, but every time I search for anything, there's always multiple DeviantArt results of really shitty drawings. I have no idea how it determines that those drawings are in any way, shape, or form relevant or good.
Let the kids be proud of their art.
I don't see what that has to do with anything. I mean, sure, they can be proud of their art if they wanna. I just don't want to see it in my search results when I'm looking for reference images. Heck off with that.
Add DeviantArt to your uBlock.
That doesn't filter them out of the search results, you know. That is one thing that I don't understand why Google doesn't have it, as we've discussed before in IRC, a native way of blocking certain sites from search results. There's JavaScript add-ons that do that, but they're terrible, slow, and yeah. Ooh, spicy. Again, the brown kind of look, it doesn't look terrible, but it's also just kind of boring. So I would rather avoid it than anything. I would like to find something that's more interesting to look at, but not glaringly so. Which is where the challenge lies. It doesn't have to be like realistic necessarily. Just has to look good and not weird. It has to be inoffensive, I guess is the right word. Term, description, whatever. That looks so weird. It almost reminds me of Metroid for some reason. So hold on, if I do this and now change the background to an orange. Ooh. Funky. Yeah, no. Man, I have no fucking idea. This music track right now playing reminds me a lot of Look Around You. The music that plays sometimes during that.
I have no memory of what that was.
Really? Alright. Wow. This is driving me nuts.
What a nice sound to hear.
Yeah, I'm sure it was lovely. What the fuck do I do? Please help me. God, I don't know what to do with this fucking shit. Hmm? Why is the sky like that? Oh, because I used a dumb bucket fill. Gotcha. We're all good. Man, I want to know what's up with Suki. He said he was going to be around yesterday, but he wasn't. And today he hasn't shown up either.
I hope he's alright.
Same.
I thought we were gonna hang out today, but it looks like he was busy.
Busy with what, though?
That hole in the middle left looks like a moor and the two small holes like eyes. Middle right, I mean.
Oh, this one. Yeah, I see it. Kind of.
I asked him if he wanted to go see the Spider-Man film tomorrow, but he hasn't responded.
What a dick. I wonder what's up with Chris. He hasn't replied to my email in months now, too. I know he was on holidays and everything, but yeah. So hey, if it actually does cool down overnight, I'll be able to stream some stuff tomorrow. Aside from this, you know. Like, video games. Oh my god. And like, drawing. That's not this.
Video games.
Exciting. I don't know if I like what I'm doing here. Which, you should know by now, means I don't like what I'm doing here.
What could it mean?
Means I suck at drawing.
Please stop selecting. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, I'm still not happy with the colors at all. I don't know what the fuck to do with them. I really don't know. I'm gonna have to ask some people that have more of an idea if they have any, or that are better than me.
They
This
look
kind of
lovely
stuff.
to my eyes. I don't know.
What is this? What is this? Huh? Oh. I don't know. And that's not even the full palette yet. Or the full tile set yet. I need to do icy kinds of things as well. Or more icy kind of things. Snowy kinds of things. Let's at least save it for now. That's definitely not the color I have selected right here. Oh. Why do you do the fucking alpha? Okay, that's much more like it.
Did we ever finish the Starbound storyline?
Nope, and I have absolutely zero interest.
All right.
Oh dear, not much time left to go, huh? This time, things went by much faster than I anticipated. No bueno.
This makes me wonder if I should get Celeste finally.
It's been on sale on Steam. I don't know if it still is, but you should if it's cheap enough, if you can afford it.
Probably. I was thinking for Switch though. Easier to just pick up and play.
Yeah, but also much more expensive, and due to the Switch analog sticks, a much worse experience, I would guess.
Do you play Mario Maker using the analog stick or do you use the D-pad like I do?
I use the analog stick. The D-pad on...
Isn't it hard that way?
Is it? The D-pad on the Switch is awful. And I'm generally not used to using D-pads at all. This looks like fucking garbage. Oh my god. I'm not happy. Today I am not a happy baby. I wanted to make it look sort of crystally, and that's why I went with these hexagonal kind of shapes, but it's not working out. I don't know. Something isn't right. But I don't know what. It's been the running theme, hasn't it? Something is wrong. Any idea how to fix it? No, I don't even know what's wrong. I only know it ain't right yet. So if the weather does indeed cool down overnight, I'm gonna be drawing, or working on this tile set a bit more tomorrow before the daily stream, which means there will be an additional stream probably. Also, this is not good. Or at least one additional, work-related stream, and maybe even a game
Alright,
stream
either
as
way
well.
is great for me.
Yeah, something needs to change about this stuff over here for sure. That just doesn't work. I'm now much more on board with what's happening over here, this way, than with this. But that might also be a case of the background contrast not being too bad, and here just being bland, or maybe I need to add more shade levels here than same as here. Or any number of things, I just don't know. I'm gonna post this to the art thread on Something Awful and see if someone has any clues on what could be done. Yeah. I'm also gonna try to work some more on the leaf coat tomorrow, so maybe, or hopefully tomorrow is gonna be another code stream, since we've done 2 art streams in a row now. And I would rather not do too much of the same. And tomorrow is actually going to mark 2 weeks of daily Gamedev streams. So another week of progress done. Time sure flies. Alright, well, it's about time, so might as well call it here. It's also gotten really dark out. Okay, so tomorrow, let's look at the schedule real quick. Tomorrow, I might start working on moving platforms, so we'll have a gameplay mechanic to look at during tomorrow's stream, if everything goes alright. If not, there's another thing I want to work on, which is improved OpenGL buffer object support and trial. I have an idea for a system that I want to implement, so I might also do that. It's not terribly urgent though, so I might not. Anyway, tomorrow definitely code stream. And probably early day art stream. Anyway, hope to see you then. Thanks for stopping by, and have a good night. Or a good day. Bye bye.